Okay, now I want to get to the rest of the body so that you can start to put these pieces together. Flagging. That is when a dog's tail is up in a high arc. Most people don't know what that's called. It's called flagging. And that is when a dog is trying to look as big and menacing as he possibly can, even little ones, because that's all they've got is their tail, to say, hey, I'm in charge. Now, if the tail, the interesting thing about the tail is that it can be misleading. My dog Yogi was a perfect, I got to see him in action where the tail was misleading. I thought that he was it was up, but it was wagging. So I'm thinking, this isn't flagging, this is just the way he holds his tail. But what he was doing was, that was what he would do right before he was ready to go in for the attack. So just the tail being up doesn't mean much, but if the tail is up and stiff, it's, you know, like a whale fin, that's when you know something is about to happen. Now, if the tail is up, but the eyes are soft and the mouth is open, obviously that's just the way he's excited. So again, you have to start watching all the pieces together to decide what's going to happen next. And usually you'll see it when a dog greets for the first time. If you ever watch, you guys get to see it in like the shelters, the humane societies and things like that. But what's really cool is if you get an opportunity, the next time you go to a dog park, the next time, the best education quickly is doggy daycare. Ask any doggy daycare owner if you could just sit and watch for a day. It is a very fast education about how dogs greet and what's going on and how one will react to the other one depending on what the other one's body is doing. Pilo erection, that is when the dog's hair on the back goes up. Same thing with Y. It is a dog's way of trying to look as big and menacing as possible, so the hair is going to stand on end. Now, most people, when they see this, the first thing they immediately assume is absolutely a dog fight or aggression. And yet, if nothing else in the body is going on, there is one other reason why that might happen. Anybody know? What? Yes, excitement. It's like, you know when you guys get excited, and we call it goose pimples, goosebumps? It's exactly the same way. So when they're really excited about something, going for a walk, meeting a dog, doing something like that, you can see that. So it's not always going to mean that something bad is going to happen or that the dog is stressed. It can absolutely mean excitement. Submission. Well, there's no doubt, obviously, in the far left, that he is doing every single thing possible to shrink and be as small as possible, letting him know I am no threat whatsoever. In fact, I'm probably terrified. This guy, I notice he's way more interested in the camera, which I think is very funny. But this one is shrinking, head turn, coming in at an arc, and looking up and licking his lip, which is another calming signal. Trying to say, I am no threat, be my friend. You see it with a lot of puppies. Bella would do it when she first came into the house. She went up to every single dog, I mean for weeks, and she still does it to Sierra, the other female. But it's licking of the mouth, trying to get inside the mouth, licking in the mouth, trying to say, I want to be your friend, I'm submissive, I know I'm the underling in the group. And then obviously, I don't think that you can get closer to the ground. It's like a half of a play bow. I'm going to get on the ground. I'm just probably about to ready to roll over on my belly. I mean you no threat. This is one of my favorite topics because it is one of the things that can take a dog from one extreme to another. Most of the people that have dogs that call me for help, the first thing they say, the first thing out of their mouth is, I need you to fix my dog, basically. I need you to fix something my dog is doing. Well, back when I was novice, I always focused on what the dog was doing because I didn't know any better. You know, the dog needs to learn sit and stay and heel and all those things, but behaviorally, you know, you need to teach the dog not to bark, and you need to teach the dog not to growl at my kids, and you need to teach the dog this and this and this. Well, as I got older and I read and I keep reading and I'm learning and I'm learning, what I'm realizing is, I think you know this already, 90% of a dog's issue, it comes from, yeah, you. Not you. Of course not you, because you guys know better. So now I go into a house and I sit down and I start to ask questions. And very quickly I find out why the dog is doing what they're doing. And it has everything to do with the pet parent. So our communication, hand signals. I really stress when I'm working with the dog hand signals over voice commands. Why? Because dogs are much more visual than they are auditory. And another reason is because for whatever reason, I don't know what it is, but why do we, I'll say we, even though not really me, feel the need to repeat our commands? You all have heard it when you say to a dog, sit, 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 buddy, sit. Well, first of all, what's happening in that manner is you're teaching the dog that sit is now a 4-word command. So now your dog is, of course, not going to sit the first time because he's waiting for you to finish. That makes sense? And I've asked, I used to ask the men in my class because for some reason, no offense, guys, I love you, but you happen to be more a victim of the repeater anonymous thing. And I don't know what it is. I'm not saying women don't do it, because we do. But I asked a guy once, I said, have you ever asked your wife to get you a cup of coffee? Yes. I said, now, if she was in the middle of something, doing something, finishing, folding laundry, watching a show or whatever, did you say, get me a cup of coffee, cup of coffee, cup of coffee? He said, of course not. I said, no, because she'd throw the cup at you. What is it about us that we feel the need to constantly, it's almost like I call it the machine gun effect. It's like a da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da. We do. Sit. And if it's not happening that instant because we have this need for immediate gratification, we feel the need to say it again. But it also shows a lack of consistency on our part, and the dog starts to not buy it. So I like the hand signals. Also, I've trained a few deaf dogs, and I will tell you that they were actually easier to train, as strange as that sounds. Dogs don't get distracted as easy from the things that they hear. The only thing you have to worry about in training a deaf dog is obviously how to get their attention. Well, the good news is if you're in a house, they usually can feel a vibration. You can turn on a light switch, things like that. But I like the hand signals better. I'm not saying I don't use verbal, because I do both. But I will tell you that I get more consistency out of my dogs when I use a hand signal than when I use verbal, by far. And you can come up with different hand signals for different things, whatever you want to do. But I love the hand signal.